Crime is so prevalent in neighborhoods like El Noveno that many are named after the gangs that control them. This is where Juan Manuel Garcia grew up. He got into gangs and drugs as a teenager, but turned his life around and is now a social worker, trying to help other kids from falling into the same cycle.
Yo creo que la violencia se reproduce, ¿no?
I think violence repeats itself, and that has lots of effects. One of those is how the kids relate to each other. They start to behave differently. They see violence between people as something natural.
Although violence has dropped, kids in these neighborhoods have seen countless acts of brutality and are struggling to get past it. Tonight, Juan Manuel is visiting Jonathan Ruiz. He grew up watching his dad and uncles deal drugs. In 2010, his dad was murdered by rivals.
I was depressed, but it was actually hate. I was full of hate about what happened to my dad. When you live here, you get used to violence. It becomes normal. And I admit that I ended up doing the same bad things.
Juan Manuel and Jonathan found common ground in rap. It became an outlet for Jonathan to deal with the hate he felt.
For many kids in neighborhoods like this, joining a gang or drug cartel is the only option. Even for those who don't, violence is still almost unavoidable. And there's no citywide program to make sure kids can recover from the trauma they suffered.
Child psychologist Fernando Briceño says the few mental health resources that do exist simply don't catch everyone in need.
The resources out there aren't enough, because people who don't have obvious signs of emotional damage need help to understand that there are other ways of living.
Through activities like football, Juan Manuel is trying to teach young people to relate to each other peacefully.
Drug addiction and trafficking will always exist, but we do what we can so that things can change, so that same things don't keep happening.
He's hoping it will help keep this generation from pulling Juarez back into its bloody past.
James Fredrick, TRT World, Juarez.